Um. Uh oh. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here. Okay. Say hi to Oliver first. He does not know that you're looking at him right now. He's like, "What is this? I'm not sure what you're doing, Dad. I just had a bath and I don't smell like a dog anymore, and this is weird. I don't like not smelling like myself. I don't like being myself, not being myself either, baby." All right. Here, let's go here. Well, that was really unprofessional. Okay, baby. Stay there. Um, no holds barred. What would it look like if I were just to have no holds barred? I'm already doing that, just teaching in that way. But I want to start with this. Okay, so think of this sabotage this way, or just suffering is this way. It's like you live in a house, and that's your happiness. But you've hidden your happiness from you, and all over the house, in different places. Actually, different places so that you can make sure that you don't find it. Or you could say your joy, or your flow, your purpose, so it's just a metaphor, actually. Excuse me. Come here, baby. So, just the metaphor would be like, if you go in your closet. Oh, there's my happiness. I put it there. It's in my kitchen sink. It's actually in my medicine cabinet. It's under my couch. I put it in my attic. It's in my basement. It's also in my bathtub. It's in my child's room and in my doghouse. My happiness. I hid it everywhere. Why? Well, because my happiness is unsafe. With my happiness comes my authenticity, like being myself. And if that's scary, then I'm going to put that in different places. I'm going to store that energy, you could say, hide it from myself in plain view so that I can't be happy. Again, why? Because it might be a matter of survival, actually. If my happiness feels really unsafe, if it's really scary to be myself, yeah, I'll hide it really well, actually. And even as somebody starts to say, hey, you've hidden your happiness in plain view in all these different places, I might get upset at that, actually. Because you don't understand this game here. I've hidden this from myself. So as you call it out, that's good, because I want to find my happiness, but that's bad because that ruins the entire thing. You don't understand. See, because on some level, I want to hide my happiness. This is the unconscious talking here. I need to suffer. I can't be happy. I can't be joyful. I can't express love. I'm afraid because I'm hurt and I'm angry. I can't. And it's that programming that has hidden the, whatever you want to say, whatever we're looking for. Forget happiness. We've hidden ourselves, you could say. So that non-dual teachings, you could say, they'll say, well, you're the awakeness. Okay, so I'm the awakeness. That's me. Yeah, I know that's me. In fact, when you recognize the awareness, you'll be like, yep. Yeah, that's what I am. Yep. And if you don't, then you should do some awareness practices and listen to some pointers that really help you with that. That initial recognition is all it is. Because the embodiment, or the healing, or the end of sabotage, or the ending of the suffering, or the flow, or the joy, or the happiness, which is all to me the same thing, really, is hidden everywhere in plain view. Even if you've recognized awareness, it's still hidden until it's embodied, until it's lived and embodied, right? So the inside-out path is the living and the embodiment, and the embodying of this realization of what I am, my happiness, whatever we want to say. If you don't like the word happiness, just, what I'm saying is you've hidden yourself from yourself everywhere. So the inside-out path is like turning everything inside out. You know, like every space where you've hidden something, oh, turn that inside out. Yep, I've hidden myself there. Go to the bathtub, turn that inside out. Yep, there I am, turning everything inside out, the whole house, your whole life, to see where you've hidden yourself. Because you come to find out that you are this. And that's where it becomes unimaginably paradoxical and inexplainable. You can't express that. When you see that you've placed yourself everywhere, you realize that you are everywhere. You've recognized that you're the awareness first, but now you're seeing that you're everywhere you go, you're meeting yourself. All over the house. Or you could say in your life, you're meeting yourself. So let's talk about that. So, am I meeting myself when I'm triggered by my husband? That doesn't seem like me. That seems like him. I like to push the responsibility of whatever's going on there with him. Fuck you, Chester. I'm angry at you. I mean, you're the problem. You're the problem. See? Whatever, if you think, okay, so here's the thing. I've hidden myself there. Yeah, right there. That's me too. It looks like Chester. God damn, I try to make it into Chester. At an unconscious level, I've really wanted it to be a separate Chester. But that's me too. Because when I have looked at it, it's just like with all my relationships, on the embodiment process, everything that bugs me or that triggers me about him or from him ends up being activating something buried in me. Fuck you, Chester. God damn it. I'm going to blame you for that too. Fuck you. I'm angry. I'm afraid of you. See, coming out of repression, I can just play all this out because I can see it and turn it inside out. See, I'm telling you what my suffering has always been, and I didn't know it. So that was me. You know, you could say, in so many ways, that's me. I started with the closest relationship, so you can see that that's me. Let me show you. Any trigger that I would have had with him, like anything, I'm unattractive compared to you, or I'm unlovable, although I never had that with him, really. But if I would have, it's all the same. See, that also is me placing myself in those triggers, those deficiency stories, because that's not me, but I place myself there. My authentic self gets sort of just placed there, and I'm an imposter for a moment, and I show up in a relationship, some old childhood wound, an identity, and that protects me though. See, because I've hidden myself in this identity. My true self is here. I just haven't discovered it. And these triggers, it's like my true self hides from itself for a moment, or forever long. And I thought that you could just question the identity, the false identity that came up. So I did that because knowledgeable teachers tell us to do that. And I told you to do that as a teacher. Come to find out, that's part of the problem. That's a big part of the problem. Focusing there on just this idea that there's this self that comes and goes. Because I had energetically, I had placed myself in that trigger. It wasn't just a thought or an identity, it wasn't just a matter of resting back. I'm the awareness that sees this thing coming and going. No, I energetically placed myself in that. Meaning my buried anger when it would be triggered, when he would trigger me, my buried anger would be triggered, but I didn't know it at first before coming out of repression. So it wasn't a matter of questioning identity. It was a matter of reversing the emotional repression that was behind the reaction to whatever. See, and I was holding the anger back. So that's me. In other words, when he triggered me, he triggered my own anger, repressed in my body. And through the years, I've thought about it as identity, and that's a misplaced attention there, because that's not what's going on. He is triggering programming deep in the body that's below the identity. The identity is on the surface. You could say the visible realm or the semi-visible realm, depending on how conscious the identity is of I'm unlovable or whatever. But this was something deeper that I couldn't see with any of my relationships. But this was me. Like every one of my triggers in all of my relationships, both of my marriages, were all me. And I don't mean that in a cheesy, non-dual way. I mean, quite frankly, all me. So not just thoughts appearing in my own awareness, like the energetic response to that was all me. And it's interesting how it looks like it's somebody else. It looks like it's separation, doesn't it? Yeah. I've even gotten fooled in moments of like the trigger. Yeah, for sure. What do I mean, not even? I mean, what I'm saying is even having this insight, in a moment when trauma is active, it'll still be like, for a moment there, the trigger, until there's a seeing, oh, yeah, that's me. I'm angry and afraid. And then it's gone. I express and feel, mainly feel and process at least, the anger and the fear. Everything is cleaner now because I see it's all me, right? It just wasn't skillful until I saw, well, I'm generating it all. And I had to go to the unconscious to see that, you know? And it's so clearly seen. And I've always known my work, but I haven't always known my work at the body level. Just say that. I've always known that it's all me because of the non-dual seeing. But this isn't seeing that's all me at the somatic level, where the energetic sense of separation, whatever that is, which just means that whatever's going on in our bodies, transmutes. And then something happens on the outside because the inside and outside are one. And you really see that with this work because the programming in the body and the pain or the contraction is the programming of trauma. So as you transmute that energy, you respond differently. And yeah. Wow. So you can heal trauma. If somebody says you can't heal trauma, bullshit. You don't know. Because it's a matter of seeing and being skillful. It doesn't happen overnight though. It's an embodiment process. So it's all me. And then even if a shadow, so if Chester would get angry, that's a shadow for an anger repressor. That's me. It's another way of saying the same thing in a way. So he's angry. It might look like it's about something here at the level of the mind or in our conversation, but at the energetic level, it's unconsciously, it's he's angry and I can't get angry. I'm afraid. I have to hold myself back. And then something false would come up. False meaning not the anger. So it'd be shut down, quiet. That's all me. That's his anger simply triggered all that in me, my anger. And then that shutdown of the programming that says no to that. That's all me. That's all my work to do. I'm the only one that can thaw out that energy and was the only one that could thaw out that energy when I was shut down, when he was angry at me. Nobody else could do it. It wasn't a matter of resting his awareness. That doesn't work. It's anger repression. It's all me. Now, when you feel like a victim or when you are really triggered, it doesn't seem like it's all you. It feels like your system has to protect you and make it about the other person, which is good because you protect yourself in those moments. We have to. And that's important that we can do that until we can stand more on our own 2 feet. We always need to be able to set a boundary. But these moments of shutdown and repression and triggers are so very valuable. This is how we heal the trauma when we're skillful. It's all me. That shadow, his anger, my response to his anger had nothing to do with me. Him. It had nothing to do with him. See, it's his anger. Nothing to do with me. My response is all me. My response was a repression of anger, creating a shadow. I have a problem with your anger because I repress my own. That's all me. I have an identity that comes up because I can't open to my anger. That has nothing to do with you. The identity that comes up that might come up when I can't open to anger has to do with childhood and mom and dad. It's a self-protective thing. See, when you're awake to all this, you know that's different. But when you're not, right? There's confusion and suffering and ignorance and all that. Conflict and and then so the house metaphor. So Chester is a part of the house. It's an important part of my life, in other words. That's the inside out path. My relationship with Chester turned inside out, brought me healing of this chronic pain, spinal stenosis, and healing in this relationship, and healing of a lot of things about that were coming from trauma for me, that were from very subtle things to very big things. So it's all me. Inside and outside are one. It looks like it's outside of you. When you process, it's all you. Inside, out path. Okay, so here we go. The pain, right? The chronic pain that was there for so long. Well, so that doesn't look like anger, right? That didn't look like anger. So that's not me. I mean, that's not my anger. That's how I saw it, right? That's another place in the house, in a way. Even though it's inside me, it's like another closet where I've placed myself. But I didn't know that. So there was suffering there too. Just like with Chester, if I don't know myself in the relationship, I suffer. If I don't know myself with regard to this pain, I suffer. So part of me is just right here in this pain, and I don't know that I've placed a part of myself there. I've placed my joy there, my happiness, and my anger. They're all together there. So here I heal the pain through the anger repression work, and I discovered that was me. That was my anger, and I just needed that online to embody this presence and to heal and to live authentically. I've told that story. I just wanted to put it in the metaphor that it's all me. At one point, more before I was a teacher, but a little bit during the anger repression work, I had issue with authority. Mainly when I was an attorney, more than anything else, but a little bit as a teacher, and that was me. That wasn't them. Yeah, that was me. Does that mean I'm okay with all authority? No. You know I'm not, because I criticize authority all the time. That's okay. That's okay, but that's still me. I know that. I don't think that that's separate from me. I used to. See, and then I would trigger me, authority, because I didn't know that I was angry. So I buried the anger and the fear, remember? So I placed my anger, you could say, in the authority. It's like another place in the house. That's the kitchen sink, the authority. And then I fucking hate the kitchen sink. And I forgot that it's me, It's like saying I hate my pain. Well, yeah, but that's you. That's your anger. Well, I know, but I hate it. Because I don't know it's me. And I hate the fucking authority. Even though it's my kitchen sink, I know that. I get that. I need the kitchen sink. It's part of my house. I get that. I need the authority. But I fucking hate it. It's like hating yourself. You don't know it. Hating your pain is like hating yourself, but you don't know it. Or maybe you do. But like the authority is a hard one because that's dad. That's the bully. Fuck you. Right? Fuck you, Scott Killaby. Fuck you. Or whoever. Whatever authority. But see, that was me too. Definitely. Yeah. I couldn't be the authority for my own experience, which just means I couldn't open to my anger. It's always that. Same old thing. Repression driving everything. Once I open to my anger, I don't have a problem with authority. I have authority in my life. Dr. Sarno became an authority. Ken Wilber became more of an authority. Alan Gordon. Certain other teachers and scientists, trauma researchers, Peter Levine. Trauma researchers helped me a lot. Just science. The authority of science helped me. I have a problem with other authority that I think is not healthy. Spiritual teachers, but that's just me being healthy. See, because my anger's online and I can express this part of myself. Because when I found my anger in different places in my house, I found my voice. Because this is myself. I place myself everywhere. So as I gain myself back, embody myself, I can speak too. But then as I speak, of course, that ends up being a trigger for some people. But I have to tell you though, so when you get triggered at me for speaking, is that me? It depends. Because if I have to really check my body on triggers, I have to really check my body for any shadows. If you're triggered at me, let me see here. Is that me? Well, it depends because I don't have any trigger in my mind right now, but there have been a few situations. But so, let me explain this. If I don't have a trigger, no, that's not me. That's you. That's not my stuff. I don't even know what you're talking about. It's like that, but I have to check in my body. That's the thing. I have to. If I don't check into my body, I'm just basically lying. Or I don't know. Because I'm not being real. I'm not checking into my body. I'm just coming from the mind or being self-protective or something. But if I really don't have a trigger, no, that's yours. That's not mine. And that's the other part of coming out of repression. Even though there are no boundary lines in experience, you have no problem saying, no, that's yours. That's not mine. Sorry, I'm not going to own that. Because you can trust your experience, and people will say it even looks arrogant. People have said that. And I would say something like, no, that's yours, that's not mine. Yeah, that's not mine. No, I know it looks like mine, but it just isn't. Sorry. I know you want it to be mine, but it just isn't mine. It just can feel arrogant but you have to understand, though, I'm willing to take accountability almost everything that is mine, because this is how I found my happiness, by owning it everywhere. But if it's not mine, I can't find myself there. I can't own it if it's not mine. It's just not mine. You know, it's like a part of the house that's not mine, whatever. Or it's like that's yours. And I don't know how to tell you that. Maybe that's like out back or something. You've got a part of your thing back there, but it's not mine. And that takes discrimination and discernment and somatic work and tuning into your body and really being earnest and not humble, because that can be fake. You know, humble can be fake, but being earnest. And unless humility is natural, then that's different. But sometimes humility comes from the mind. When you come from the body, it's just like honest. If I'm triggered by you, though, that's me. Yeah, that's me. And how would you trigger me would be, my usual triggers would be, well, if I perceive you turning against me in some way, you know, that would be the bully trigger. Maybe you're somebody close to me. Well, yeah, that would be me, for sure, if I got triggered there. Trigger here is, I mean, like carrying something over in time. Like, you know, something other than just, if there's something there, allow it. Holding on to it, right? If that would be mine, yeah. I'd like to make that yours. Well, I wouldn't now, but when I was in repression, I almost always wanted to make that yours, because I don't want to feel my anger. But now, if I'm triggered, that's mine. Yeah, that's all mine. No, I mean, it's all mine, actually. It doesn't matter whether you process it, because it's all mine when I'm triggered. It's all mine. It's my shadow. If there's a shadow, that's mine. Give me that back. That's me. I need myself. I need my shadow back. I just didn't know that I gave it to you. You know, that's how it feels now. It's like, God, I didn't realize I put it there. I put myself right there with you. Shit. And then you just did a really loving thing. You got triggered at me. You just hated me for a moment. You did something really wonderful for me. You were just giving myself back. That is the most loving thing. But when you're in repression, it feels like a hateful thing, a mean thing, when somebody hurts your feelings. How dare you? I cannot get in contact with my anger. I'm repressing it. You have no right to get angry at me. I'm going to go over here and be really quiet and bully you. I hate that motherfucker. I hate that motherfucker. I hate that motherfucker. I hate that motherfucker. But of course, I'm not aware of this, right? This is chronic pain. I hate that motherfucker. I hate that motherfucker. Hey, I was over there processing it. Yeah, I was in the silence. I was just sitting in silence. Because there's nothing in the silence, and I just noticed I don't have any trigger. Yeah, I'm fine. Let's go. Let's go do something. Want to? Snake in the grass. See? The snake in the grass is me. Oh, I put myself in that character, right? The one that's like okay with everything. Because just it's a character. And the non-dual thing got involved with it too. You know? He's okay with all of it. Yeah, he's fine. I'm fine. I'm not triggered. Did you get triggered? Well, I just went and sit in the silence. And I just noticed a few things, you know. But my pain, I just noticed my chronic pain is bad, babe. Yeah, I think maybe I should just take some Advil or something. Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the argument. Do you? See, I'm putting myself everywhere there. My God, I got to go get myself. Shit, in all these places. My pain, there's my pain again. I got to get my anger. Make that conscious. I might have to say some things to babe. God damn, babe, I'm angry at the way you said that. I'm angry. Process it. Now, have myself back. The pain is better. See, because I was holding my anger there. So I have my anger back. I have myself back. I don't have to have the pain there. And then, you know, for whatever trigger, going over here and processing it, quietly, I hate that motherfucker. I hate that motherfucker. I was putting myself there. My anger was in the quietness. So I'm going to take that back out of it, because the quietness is for quietness. It's not for anger, but I was using it for anger, repression. So, they have to own that anger. That's mine. That doesn't belong to silence. That doesn't belong to the sacred. Not in a repression. The anger is the sacred. So we don't want to repress it. We don't want to be afraid of the sacred. The anger is the sacred. See, the fear is the sacred. The hurt is the sacred. It's all the presence. But I just didn't understand it all that. I couldn't. I was afraid. Putting myself everywhere. So I was just trying to explain to you when I was repressed what happened when I would the quiet bullying. But that's an example of like just putting myself everywhere. And then but see, what I was in the quietness before anger repression work, hiding in that, there was also trigger there at times. It wasn't just me in quietness totally fooling myself, like tucking all the anger in there. There was like, as I would start to come out of repression, I had some more thoughts and feelings about it. You know, maybe I'm not so quiet now, but now it's like, as I told you guys, it's like, okay, I'm going to try to be vulnerable. I can't really go to anger yet, but I'm going to be vulnerable because I can do that. And I'm feeling some vulnerability, so let me try that. And then that's not real because there's the anger repression under it. So there's the fear under it. And I tried to put myself there. I was keeping myself there in this fake vulnerability character. Like, who is that? You know, even the spiritual thing, the awareness, vulnerable, soft, fake. But I don't know it. Who is this character? That's not in shutdown anymore. I'm not in my room in the quietness, bullying the fuck out of him. I'm here and I'm talking to him more, and he's still angry because that's his trauma response. He can't go to sadness or hurt or anything like that, or fear at this point in our relationship. And I'm being vulnerable because, well, I tried this trick, you know, as I told you in the Scott Tells All video series with my first husband. See if I can try it again. Babe, you hurt me. Yeah, that hurt. And that looks real. You know, I'm almost proud of myself in the presence. You know what I mean? Like when you have a spiritual ego, you're like, God, that was really vulnerable. Fuck. But you don't say it to yourself. There's just an ego there. Because it's just all false when there's repression. It's just all fucking false. So I just have to make a joke out of it. I'm just saying. All right, because what else would you do? It's just... So the fake vulnerability, babe, you know, and that's not going to work. Because vulnerability is his repression. Hurt is his repression. So that's like awakening the devil. Really. Fuck, Satan is in my house now. That did not work. See, in the first marriage, I would not be awakening Satan. Sorry, babe, I don't mean by Satan. What I mean is like to my anger, his anger is the devil, is what I mean. It's not really that he is that. It's that that's how that felt. Because I'm still just trying to be vulnerable. I still have the anger buried. And he just pounced on that. And what a gift that was for him to have his shadow, because then it helped me understand, well, I'm being fake. And I can sit there and get mad at him for doing that, or not even mad because I have anger repression. I can whatever towards him, or I can look and see, yeah, him pointing at me is pointing at something. But I don't want to face that. See, that's why I put myself in that fake, vulnerable thing. But I didn't know that. It's just one of those moments where you're like, shit. Damn. There's another place in the house. I didn't realize I put it's like putting money in everywhere. It's like, oh, I just found 10,000. Shit, that's a big one. Damn. And then the fake vulnerability has to go away, right? Because every place you find yourself, you can't hide yourself there again. I mean, you can. That's not true. I just lied. See, I just hid myself in that lie. You can. Because you can go back again, again. See, that's what I'm saying. When spiritual resumes are lies, when you go back again and you get triggered again into it until you see, oh yeah, there's the fake vulnerability thing, and then you can process the anger. That's what I had to do, is actually process and allow the anger, and then the fake vulnerability went away. It wasn't a matter, oh, I just lied. It wasn't a matter of, it was an innocent lie, but it came from something. I don't know. I'll look at that. Yeah, there's transparent. I corrected it because I kept going back to it a couple times, the fake vulnerability, and he kept pouncing on it. Oh, what came up was there's a shame in it. Oh, because it happened a couple times. That's what it was. So I'm just turning inside out here. Shame. Let me just process that for a second. I'm not ashamed for you to know that I did the fake vulnerability. Oh, can I be honest here? 3 times? I don't know if I was counting, but it seems like it was 3 times. And one time was really painful because I felt something, real grief there during an argument, and he really pounced on it, is how I perceived it. But you see it a couple of times, and part of hiding it from myself is it's safe. And so you want to hide yourself in that on an unconscious level. It's just safer than the anger. So the shame that just came up was like, yeah, I did it a few more times, trying that pattern unconsciously to really control, actually, through vulnerability, control his anger. But of course I couldn't see that at the time, because when you're in repression, you can't see how vulnerability is being used to get love and stay safe, because it's coming from trauma. It's like fake vulnerability, fake presence, fake humility, fake peace. It's all repression. It's just the words I use the words fake to point to what's real. They're just words. And when you come out of repression, you're not really afraid of words so much anymore, because there's no energy on them. They're just useful. Anyway, the fake vulnerability, that doesn't work. So I'm still doing anger repression work. I'm developing it. I'm telling you about my relationship with Chester, and then it's like it all just stops working. The silence doesn't work. I don't know what the hell I was trying to use. Oh well, I was trying to stay safe with it. And that's not the silence doing that. That's not presence or awareness doing that. That's the Scott conditioning buried using that. That didn't work. The fake vulnerability didn't work. I'm running out of options. That became a slight trigger. I don't know what to do. You ever had that in a relationship? I don't know how to respond to this person. I don't know what to do. And then like, well, I'm going to leave. I have to go. Yeah, because I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to do. I certainly can't be real. I have to go. You know what happened when I was a kid, when I couldn't be real? Bye. I'll see you guys later. No, I won't, actually. I'll try to hide when I come back later. That's how it was with the bullies, just hide. That's what I was trying to do. And then there I found myself there, trying to run. From what? From myself. From my own anger, from my own response, from my own trauma. So it's like finding another place in the house. Like, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, the kid's bedroom, or whatever. I didn't know I was holding myself there. In that trauma response, but it's okay, though. See, I've needed myself in these places. That's the thing. There's self-compassion. I want to say that, too. Every time you find yourself, you meet yourself somewhere, there's a lot of compassion, and you see why you were doing it. And then you have compassion for other people because you see why they're doing it. But that doesn't mean you don't get angry. Remember? Eventually, I'm able to get angry. Oh my God, how tiring was all that? I'd found myself, It's like I'd gone around the house and I've found myself in all these places. And I have myself now, my anger. But I realize now that all my life, and there's still some energy around it. That's the part of coming out of repression where there's anger. But not all the time. It's just accessible. And I'm Like, oh shit. So now I'm not leaving. I'm not putting myself there in that part of the house, and I'm not going to silence and just avoiding, not putting myself there. I'm not doing fake vulnerability. I'm not doing the snake in the grass. So I've got myself here. That's what it felt like. Oh, I can just sit here and be with you and respond differently. So anger, I heal the chronic pain by opening to that. It wasn't about putting the anger on him. There were times when I did. It was about feeling and being able to express that. And because I had myself. But then it's a matter of like, now the game changes. Because see, I was in repression. What can you do when you're in repression? You know, I wanted to rush to awakening, but there was this repression. So now, coming out of repression, the house looks different, right? But it's a matter of now, it's like, now I just know, say the metaphor breaks down, but it would be like, now I know all the parts of my house where I tend to place myself. Coming out of repression is really waking up to what is in the inside out path, because now you're conscious in all these moments. Oh, and by the way, one of the moments or one of the things would be like addictions, right? So I have to say that, like, during all the time of my life, in different times, I would just go disconnect and use something, sex, drugs, something. And for a long time, even though science would say, well, that's emotional repression, I didn't realize that I'd put myself there too. My anger, buried, was driving it. There I am, another part of the house. You see, there's nowhere, the inside out path backs you into this corner in this beautiful way, and you just see how your life is built from trauma. So anyway, as I come out of repression, now I know where I tend to put myself. So the triggers start going away, the pain is gone, the shadows are gone, because I see where I put myself now. So instead of having shadows, I have anger. So I process the anger, and there's no shadow. I can spot the shadow. Before there's a trigger, or if there's a trigger, I can see, well, I'm just angry and afraid. But I don't bypass it. I make that conscious, skillfully. Feel it, allow it. Not always put it on him. Sometimes it's not about that, really. But it's about being able to. And so, like being at the gym, and seeing that I'm really have put myself everywhere. Like even stress is that anger that I put somewhere, or laziness or procrastination. I'm sitting at the parking lot in the gym. I don't really want to go into the gym. I'm just sitting peacefully in my car, like being, or just, and then texting Dan, something other than working out, just pleasant time. Telling myself all kinds of things like, well, I just don't really feel like going in. Should I work out today? It just avoiding the subject or the root of it, which is that I'm angry and afraid. I put myself there too, in that procrastination or whatever you want to say, that didn't want to go into the gym. And then I just went right into the anger, made it conscious. It was about Dad and my swim coach, as I've said before, making me work out or do sports against what I perceived against my will, but I buried the anger around it. So there I put myself there too. See, everywhere in my life, I could go on and on. So you can see what I'm talking about, both joy and the end of sabotage, because that's a joyless affair, to put your joy everywhere and hide it from yourself because you're afraid, and shadow it out, and then it's tucked in your pain. And because this is my life force. So let me say a few things before I go that I think would help on the practice part. Yeah, I'm sure you're wondering, right? It's all repression work, 3D. And it's really skillful, guys. And don't be turned off by skills. Don't, because we need skills. This is the unconscious. Stuff doesn't arise. If you say you don't need skills, that's probably a way to stay safe. Because if you have trauma and you're suffering, be really careful with that. That's what I would say at this day and age. Because all therapists would say you need skills for trauma. Science says trauma drives suffering. Here in spirituality, we're talking about suffering. Why don't we use skills and tools? Okay, so the identity is the middleman, is how I would say this. And that was the bypass that I didn't see. That this is the missing link here, in my view, to the embodiment process, to the end of sabotage, which is the focus and the landing on identity. What I mean by that is when we're putting ourselves in these places energetically, there's this anger repression or sadness repression or whatever, shame, it's in our bodies, inside our bodies creating suffering outside. Remember, inside out path. What stops us or where we get hung up is on who we think we are, right? These self-limiting beliefs and deficiency stories and ego identity. But before we come to non-duality or spirituality or self-inquiry, we're not conscious of these core identities. Like we might say, I'm an artist, but we're not conscious necessarily of, I deeply hate myself, or there's something wrong with me. We might feel that, but most of us aren't conscious enough when we get here to articulate that that's the identity until we become more conscious of it. And then as we become conscious of it in spirituality, we might think that that's the core. But we have to become more embodied to see that's coming from the repression. And if we stop with identity and spirituality, see, identity stops us in life, right? Because if I think I'm not good enough, I'm not going to ask her out on a date. See how I put myself there? That trigger, it's like I just bury my sadness or hurt from childhood and I don't process it. And I just believe something about myself, an identity. I'm not going to ask him out on a date. No way. I'm just not good enough. She wouldn't want to go out with me. See what we do? And we're unconscious to this, and there has to be compassion and mindfulness to allow it all and see it all. But we don't want to just allow it all because it has roots in the body. But that's an identity that stops us in life. In so many different places, like self-limiting beliefs that look like it's outside. See, talk about inside out. It just looks like it is. Circumstances that happen in our life and triggers and bosses that suck and whatever else. Husbands that do not share their emotions. Or whatever. Wives that are spending too much money. But that's not what it's about, see? So, but the identity in life before we get here stops us because when something happens in life, we often get hung up on our own self-identity. See that? Even if we're not conscious of it. So in a trigger or something going on in life, it's like, woe is me. See the self-centeredness? This is why I'm saying we all have narcissism. Because when we hit the deficiency story or the self-limiting belief, there's like a gravity to that. A force. That's like, I believe that. It's like I call it a landing. And other people call it a landing. And if we can understand that landing more, just from an energetic, not understand it, but really appreciate it more from awareness, the landing quality of that, and that there's a trauma response there, and appreciate that more. Because it's keeping us, we're surviving. Like this has actually helped us survive, so we don't want to be against it, we just want to see it. But this identity stops us in life. And it stops us in spiritual practice and non-duality because we end up questioning it too much and we don't get to the repression under it, which is driving all this. So I'm just saying, when you get really skillful, you take out the middleman. You use the middle, there's energy on the identity. You certainly deal with that stuff, but it's the repression under it driving it. As I hope I made clear here, it's that I'm placing myself in different places. Realization is energetic, you all. It's not about just recognizing the awareness. That was the first that I said initial thing. Now, see, when you recognize awareness, now you can go around your house and look to where you placed yourself. That's the embodiment process. Love you all. I hope this helps.